What's up, guys? I am Alexia. You are watching Behind the Struggle, and lately I've been behind the struggle. I haven't posted in a while, and I'll tell you why, but I wanted to help some of you guys out too. Maybe you're going through the same thing. I've been a landlord, I've been a tenant. I want you guys to understand your rights. I am not a lawyer, I'm not a realtor, I'm just a manager of a rap artist who also happened to be a landlord and a tenant. So especially with these crazy pandemic times, I thought maybe that my situation or my experiences could help you guys out in any way. I want you to know your rights as a tenant. So obviously every law varies state to state. Every situation is different. Everyone's unique. If you're out of America, I can't help you. I'm sorry, I have no idea. State by state, they are different. But a majority of the time, these basic laws hold true to all states. Obviously, check with your state's laws before you proceed with anything. But typically, I want you guys to know that your landlord is supposed to provide what they say they will provide. Every time you move into a place, obviously read the lease. Don't sign it without reading it first. You guys should actually go through it together so that you both understand what's going on. That sounds like common sense, but who knows? The house that you move into or apartment, whatever, basically must have bare minimum, like a full bathroom. That means shower, toilet, sink, a fridge, a stove, and basically a livable home. It needs to have, a door that locks. It needs to have 4 walls without holes or mice or cockroaches. That's basic. The landlord needs to provide you with a home that's livable. Obviously, when you guys discuss the lease, talk about who pays you the utilities. If the landlord is responsible, fine, but make sure you know which ones you are. Put the bills under your name, and then obviously don't pay late. Same with rent. The landlord has to make sure that you're safe. So the house needs to be obviously not condemned. It needs to be, again, livable. It needs to be a safe place for you to come home to. When it comes to appliances like the fridge or the stove, or say there's a microwave or even a washer dryer, the landlord puts in the lease that he provided these items. If you break them, replace it. If they break on their own or they're old or need to be replaced, then yes, the landlord will have to replace them. Treat others how you want to be treated. Do the right thing. If you break it, just replace it. If you didn't, kindly ask the landlord, this broke, I need it to be replaced. That goes with like all the appliances. You as a tenant, your responsibilities are common sense. Don't destroy anything. Like, you're living in this house, you cannot put any unnecessary holes in the walls. That includes punching them. You can't reroute electric wires as you please. You have to pay rent on time. You have to obviously leave the house when you move out, whenever that may be, in the same condition you got it in. I mean, that sounds easier said than done, but it's really not that hard. Like, that's what you need to do. The landlord, though, cannot enter the premise without 24 hours notice. They can't, unless it's an emergency. Now, an emergency obviously would be something that's detrimental to your safety. If it's anything other than those things, then no, they cannot come in. They have to give you 24 hours or more notice to enter your property. You can say yes or no. If they say, hey, it's 2 p.m., I'm coming tomorrow 2 p.m., you could be like, that doesn't work for me. Thank you for the notice, but let's reschedule for 5 p.m. or the next day. You can do that. It's totally in your right. And of course, the landlord cannot unlawfully evict you. And that's a gray area, again, with many other states. Obviously in your lease, read it over too, because it could differ per situation. Let's say, for example, that you break your lease. You leave without telling them, or you pay rent late, or you did something else that broke the terms of the lease, which is a contract. You would be removed, either evicted or you removed yourself. You are legally obligated to pay the remainder of the rent for the lease in which the term is. On the other hand, if the landlord evicts you and you haven't done any of those things to break the lease in any way, they broke the lease, they pretty much have to buy you out. You guys can negotiate if you're on good terms, this, that, and the third, but if you have a lease for a year, you are supposed to and allowed to stay there for that year. If the landlord wants you out sooner, it doesn't really matter what they say. They could be like, my daughter suddenly had a baby. I need her to move in so she has her own space, blah, blah, blah. I need you to leave. 60 days notice minimum for the most part. And they need to negotiate the terms of your leaving because they broke the lease, not you. Again, obviously many gray areas with that. It's really hard to talk about specifics, especially when the laws differ literally by state lines. And again, I'm only talking from basically my experience as a landlord and as a tenant. I hope this was helpful. If you guys want to stick around and hear the struggle I've been behind the last couple of months, keep watching. If not, bye. But for those of you that love drama, go get your tea because I'm gonna tell you something really funny. Okay, so February 2020, I signed another lease with the apartment that I'm in. I've been here for 4 years now. So this new lease, obviously February 2020 to February 2021. Now, in March, my landlord had said, hey, blah, 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 I allowed one of your roommates to move out because she asked to, and so she's leaving in April or whatever. Cool, okay, so I had brought someone else to replace her because it's a 3-bedroom, 3, people living in here, whatever. That's how it's been for 4 years. It made sense. He said, actually, this new roommate cannot move in. I actually want you to leave. So you have 60 days to leave because blah, blah, blah. I'm selling the property and the new buyer wants to move in. Okay. No problem. I'm willing to work with you, but I have a lease until February 2021. So we're going to have to work something out because obviously I planned on being here for another year. I've paid you rent on time for the last 4 years. So the fact that you gave me 60 days notice kind of sucks. And you didn't even say you were selling the house. So again, that's a personal issue. March 12th, he told me that. March 17th, New York City went on lockdown. Full-blown COVID pandemic, the whole world shut down, so I was basically stuck. Fast forward a couple months, I am looking for new places to live. I have contacted an attorney just in case because obviously I thought I was going to live here at least until February. With the pandemic, everyone was unemployed. The one roommate had left. My other roommate didn't qualify for unemployment. Everything was rocked, like literally rocked. Just this last week, my landlord had texted me, I'm gonna come into the house. And I wasn't home. I was out looking for somewhere to move to, literally looking at properties. And he said, I'm gonna come in. And I was like, I'm so sorry, that does not work for me. Can you please reschedule for Tuesday? Maybe we can make that day work. And also, is there an emergency that I need to be aware of? He said, listen, this is a business and I need to make money. I said, okay, in that case, access to the apartment is not granted. So just to be clear, you are not allowed to enter the premise until we reschedule, at which Tuesday would work well for me. Obviously never answered. I didn't come back until the next day because I was looking at properties, came home and things were disturbed. Obviously I was a little shook because I live alone now since one roommate is gone, the other roommate has left for work because they didn't qualify for unemployment. So I walk in and the laundry room is missing. He took the washer and dryer. I'm laughing because I don't really care that it's gone. It's just more of, you illegally entered my residence. So obviously I called the cops, waited 3 hours for them to show up because there was some BLM protests and obviously my case wasn't that pertinent. When they came, we had a discussion. I told them what I just said to you and they called him on the phone and they were like, we want to hear his side. Fine. He tells the officers, not in the presence of me, for whatever reason, that someone told him that there was a gas leak. Someone smelled gas. Now, I live here. I would have told you if there was a gas leak. Also, I asked you if there was an emergency, and that would obviously be detrimental to my well-being if there was a gas leak. And I asked you, and you still didn't tell me. To this day, he hasn't told me there's a gas leak. So, does he want me to die from gas, or was it a lie? Obviously, the latter. Now, he said that he had to come in. Okay, so that voids the 24-hour notice, no problem. He checked the washer and dryer and that they were leaking gas. What? It's laughable at this point. I mean, again, I don't care. I'm in New York City. I could go get my laundry done, but what? So the cops are still like, even though it does sound like he's lying, he did use the word emergency, so there's nothing we can do. Fine. That being said, I don't want to get too far into the story because it's still ongoing, but I do apologize for not posting a video. I am getting right back on that. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for bearing with me. I really hope that my information or knowledge has helped you or any of you in any way. That would be great. If I forgot anything, please feel free to comment below because there's a lot going on in my life right now. If you guys have any more specific questions that are unique to you and you want to ask me, please feel free to DM me on Instagram. My Instagram is @Lexia. I would love to help you as best as I can. Again, saying that I'm not a realtor nor a lawyer. I just have personal experience. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening to my rant, and thank you for letting me get that off my chest. I hope none of you are going through it like that. I hope everything is okay, and hopefully all of this craziness will end as soon as possible. Please subscribe to my channel, follow me on the gram. Thank you so much for listening to me. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.